The fight for $15 per hour minimum wage has been raging for many years. At a time of near nationwide shutdown due to the pandemic, people are once again looking at options to bring little additional dollars to their paycheck every single month and kind of narrow the wage gap. With Congress dragging their feet on a possible stimulus package, people are desperate for options. What can we do as a society to improve all Americans' lives and their economic outlook, including those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds? Will raising the minimum wage help or hurt? Let's separate the politics and take an honest look at the facts. All this and more in today's video. Hello and welcome to Stephen Carlson Show. I'm Stephen Carlson. I'm a tech entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, YouTuber, and volunteer paramedic. In the final presidential debates that took place last week, Vice President Biden was asked a question about a $15 minimum wage, and his answer was, well, I'll just let you judge for yourself.
I want to talk about the minimum wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice President, we are talking a lot about struggling small businesses and business owners these days. Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15 federal minimum wage.
I do, because I think one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bail them out, too. We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. They're not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But these guys will not help them. Is not giving them any of the money.
We are going to move on to immigration,
one thing very
but I
quickly,
want to get your
we have to help our
reaction.
small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping.
Biden did not exactly answer the question, but we do know from his previous statements that he has made he does support a nationwide increase to $15 per hour. The question was also asked of President Trump.
Recently, you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is that still the case?
And I would consider it to an extent, but
in a
what I
second
really
administration?
like, in a second administration, but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look, I've lived in different places. I know different places. They're all different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would be
President
ruinous.
Trump, thank you.
His answer was not exactly as concise as I would have hoped. It came across as a bit of a dodge, and you can see by the smile on Biden's face. However, Trump did finally answer the question, saying he feels it would be better to have it as a state-by-state issue rather than a nationwide mandate. Those are the positions of the two candidates. Trump basically thinks that states should decide, and Biden feels it should be a nationwide rule. What do you guys think? Comment down below.
I think what Trump said made all the sense in the world, and not so much for Biden. Let's start with Biden first. He says that raising the minimum wage will help small business. How? How does it make any sense? Because you got to understand what that is. You're artificially creating a wage that you got to meet as a small business. All right. And you understand, just working as a regular person, it's not that easy to make ends meet sometimes. It's the same thing for a small business owner. They're the same as anybody else out there just trying to make a living. So you got this real high wage. It becomes a very high barrier to entry. You're trying to get some more employees to become competitive and to get things done faster and quicker, more efficiently, but you can't do it because you can't afford it. So you can't really grow as a business. But if you got a lot of money, if you got all kind of investors, if you're super rich or whatever, you can do that because you have enough money to go way into debt, way into the red, as they say, to pay some people to make a thing before you turn a profit, but you can't really do that if you are a small business.
Anthony brought up a great point here. Small businesses must make do with what limited financial resources that they have. Per the U.S. Census data, just shy of 90% of all employed persons work for a small business with less than 20 employees. And many of these businesses have very, very small profit margins. Forcing these employers to raise their minimum wage artificially is not going to fix the problem. The presupposition that business owners are evil rich men is just wrong. Most business owners that I know, myself included, pay as much as we can towards our employee's salary. I know ABL is a Trump supporter, so some of you may think this is a partisan debate. But to say that $15 wage battle is strictly a left versus right issue is not correct. As former 2020 presidential Democratic candidate Andrew Yang said, he could see the flaw of the $15 minimum wage when he was interviewed by Dave Rubin on the Rubin Report.
I'm for the spirit that if you're working full-time, you should not be poor. But if you were to increase the minimum wage to $15, it would hasten the automation of all these fast food jobs that pay $9. There are all these
everywhere.
Yes,
iPad. That's it.
There are all these hardware stores and like Main Street retailers that are just scraping by, that are paying people $9, $10 an hour. You take that up to $15 an hour, they're 100% going to cut shifts, cut workers.
Of course, Yang also thought that giving everybody $1,000 per month was a viable economic option, so maybe he's not exactly the best option for sound fiscal policy.
And this is one thing that drives me nuts about the left. I mean, I've run a small company. It's like sometimes people imagine that like every business just must be somehow made of money. And it's totally not the case, particularly in this era of mega consolidation, where you have these giant companies just coming and running amok. Like they're made of money, sure, but it's like the average independent business made of money, such that you can just say, hey, pay everyone $15 an hour and it's not going to have any effect.
He does bring up a valid point. Many small businesses operate on very low profit margins, with very few of them making multi-million dollars per year. Let's take a step back and remove the fog of politics from this discussion, so we can get to the core of the problem, because I think politics just muddies up the water, to the point where many people just plug their ears and close their eyes, and they just go with whatever their party talking points are. Before I get to that, just a quick reminder, check out the link in the description to get your 2 free stocks valued up to $1,600 when you deposit $100.
You're out. Like, do they actually think they're doing the right thing, or does it just sound easy? So you just say it, $15 minimum wage, of course, why not?
I think many people have come of age in a time when capitalism has become so corrupt and extreme that they are deeply skeptical of businesses acting morally, which that's legitimate. It's like a lot of businesses are doing very messed up things. And so they're taking from that, it's like, oh, these businesses are systematically exploiting their workers when they have ample resources to do so. And so they're imagining that all businesses are like Amazon, they have ample resources. And it's in part because they haven't worked in like a lot of different settings where they would understand the distinctions between different types of employers.
Dave and Andrew brought up a good point that I think are often overlooked in these discussions. One thing to keep in mind, replacing staff is costly, and it is far more economical in the long run just to pay your employees a little bit more to be able to keep them and not have to replace them every few months. But that's a fine line of the business being able to afford what they can and giving the employees what they can. So what about massive multi-billion-dollar corporations like Walmart? Well, a fellow YouTuber, Andrew, with Don't Walk Run, has a great breakdown.
According to Walmart's annual report for fiscal year 2018, their worldwide net sales were just under $495 billion. That's net sales, not profit. And after operating costs, Walmart's net income for fiscal year 2018 was less than $10 billion. Think about it. They sell $500 billion in merchandise and only make a net profit of less than $10 billion. Now let's pretend that every one of Walmart's 2.3 million employees works 32 hours a week. If you took Walmart's profit and spread the love to each employee, everyone would only make $2.58 more per hour. That would eat up Walmart's entire bottom line, so no, they can't afford it.
The thing is, the basic math just does not add up. There is simply no way for many of these businesses to be forced to increase all of their payroll to $15 per hour. The only way this could happen across the board is for them to hire fewer employees, offer fewer labor hours, or increase the prices of goods and services to consumers. We have already observed this happening in fast food establishments like McDonald's, with the addition of their ordering kiosks, and also in grocery stores with self-checkout options, both of which reduce the total number of low-skilled workers are needed by these establishments. These policies disproportionately penalize the unskilled or minimally skilled workers. A similar battle is raging in California between the state and ride-sharing companies like Lyft and Uber. In summary, the state wants to mandate that all drivers be classified as employees with a minimum wage and benefit requirements like all other employees in the state. In contrast, the ride-sharing companies wish to keep the drivers classified as contractors. Should I make a video dedicated to this discussion, the pros and cons of both sides? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't get me wrong, I recognize the economic disparity between the rich and the poor, the have and the have-not. What policies could possibly help to address these problems? What do you guys think? One thing is for sure is the country has a horrible education system. We just do not teach our youths how to earn money, start a business, be an entrepreneur, and create something that contributes to their community. Very few graduate high school with even a basic understanding of the monetary policy or even the basics of how money is made. This is truly sad. A ground-up approach to teaching our future generations how money can work for them, instead of teaching them to be a slave to their money, would go a long way towards improving our upcoming generation's future goals. Of course, even if we started with new educational programs tomorrow, the improvements would take a decade or more before students graduate from school and enter the economy as adults. What do we do between now and then? How do we help the current generations? What do you guys think? Why don't you share your thoughts down below and make sure you share this video with your friends and get their opinions as well. Today I featured some content from Dave Rubin and Anthony Brian Logan. Both are excellent YouTubers that have amazing channels, and they approach current topics from slightly different political ideologies. If you haven't checked out their channels before, you should definitely do so. The links are down in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you click like and subscribe. Doing so really helps the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate it. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.